Welcome to another episode
Just making a
of
weird face.
Holy Homo Hangout. Holy
Him.
Homo Hangout Hour,
Same thing.
the part of the show.
I can't. It's funny every time.
It'll eventually maybe stop being funny. I don't know. Probably we love a bit. We commit to the bit
We commit.
way too hard. Somebody told us, a wise person, two wise people told us that we have to be the best part of the podcast and that we have to market ourselves, which is part of the reason why we're doing this.
Yeah.
So now you guys know how weird we are because we have to talk.
That's my personal goal, is to just let everyone know how good I am. So I'm here for this.
I guess this will determine who our true friends are.
Yes.
And if you stick around and hang out with us or peace out, I don't blame you either way.
Yeah,
I think I'm a delight, but not everybody does. It's okay. I'm not everybody's dipped cookie. I'm wearing a half yellow, half black shirt, and Carrie says that I look like one of those like dipped cookies.
It's true.
And I gotta agree with her. I kind of do. So I'm not sure how I feel about the shirt, but we're rolling with it.
It looks so good in yellow, though, like the golden yellows.
I
I can't pull off yellow. It does not go with my skin
But you look nice in blue and green.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Anyway, that being said, this is part 3 of our little relationship mini-series that we randomly decided it became a thing. This is the last one of our little 3-parter, and we are talking about being in a healthy relationship. And
we're hoping one day we'll get there.
and feeling safe to be an ass.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is about our hopes and dreams, and how maybe one day we will achieve a healthy relationship. No,
maybe one day.
But we are going to talk about being in a healthy relationship.
Yes.
and
how we got here.
It
was not a easy thing.
It was not, and that doesn't mean that our relationship is perfect.
Yeah.
It is a continuous evolving thing. I'm not going to say work in progress, because I hate when people put work and like marriage together. Because I don't feel like being married to you is a job or a chore, but it is an evolutionary process of just getting better and being better for each other. Do you want to start ranting, or do you want me to start ranting?
I'll just start with, when we first started dating, we are not the people that you see before you now.
God, no. The amount of growth we have done in 4 years is truly phenomenally astounding.
And not that we hadn't had growth, because I for sure thought I had done a lot of growth before we started dating.
Yeah, no, same. Yep,
Okay.
Yep, yeah.
So I had put in a lot of effort and work to unpack my trauma and think about some of my past relationships and my upbringing and all of that fun stuff. And still, this is the first safe relationship where I was comfortable and where I felt actually loved. And because of that, all this super fun trauma just bubbled up that thought I'd dealt with, and I had not.
Being in a healthy relationship after never being in one or having an example of one is quite possibly one of the most triggering things you will ever experience. Those who have been in that situation and have a healthy relationship, I'm sure you relate to that. Those of you who haven't, just wait.
And let's explain, because it's not like it's not like getting together made us mean to each other or any of that. It was just creating that atmosphere was so triggering to our inner selves.
Yes.
In a way that we had never experienced before. Because it felt like a space where we could process those feelings, and so they were just coming out.
It was a lot of self-work. It wasn't me versus you. Yeah. There were arguments, but it wasn't, it was never, like, our relationship was never on the rocks.
Yeah.
It was a lot of self-growth together.
And I think the only reason, honestly, that we were capable of coming through that period successfully is because we had already done the previous work and realized where our weaker areas were, and we're trying to become better people.
Yeah.
And so then when these things did start oozing out, we could be like, okay, hold on. This feels like a pattern. This seems like maybe there's something deeper there.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't the relationship that was on on the table there. It was like, okay, what's going on here that's causing this reaction, or what's going on here that's causing this.
And like you said, I absolutely think that can be attributed to us each doing a lot of individual self-work before we met, therapy,
Yeah.
reading books, podcasts,
Yes.
being open. It wasn't necessarily the fact that we got into a safe relationship and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, all of this self-growth
Craziness,
happened. But I mean, we created that relationship for each other because we had put in the prior work, and we were in that place when we met each other. Otherwise, if we weren't there, the relationship probably wouldn't have been a safe place to begin with. So
right.
that being said,
where do we want to start?
I want to start with why getting in a safe relationship is triggering AF.
Okay.
So I think one of the biggest things for me was when your brain is wired your whole life for chaos, chaos feels safe. I remember within like the first 3 months, I don't even know if we were actually dating or if we were just talking or what. But within like the first 3 to 6 months of us talking, I told my therapist, I don't know about this. The relationship's kind of boring. He's great. I'm just like, eh. Also, we were long distance for the first like 9 months-ish of us talking, like 6 months of us-ish being in a relationship. Does that sound about right? That feels right.
That feels right.
But I kind of was like, I don't know if it's like the long distance thing and she's not here or what, but I don't know if I'm vibing. And my therapist looks at me and she was like, all right, are you bored or are you safe? And I just looked at her and I was like, bitch. But she was right. When you have always been wired for chaos and eggshells and toxicity and have never had a solid, stable relationship, growing up, you don't have a healthy, safe environment, or you don't see your parents having a safe relationship. There's no model, and your brain feels safe in chaos and with the adrenaline and with the cortisol because that's what it knows. And when you get into a safe relationship, it will feel boring. And I've heard that from a lot of people who come from chaotic environments and then get into safe relationships. And you got to get past that. And once you get past that, it's the best. It gets exciting. It does. And it really is a rewiring of your brain and
it just
realizing
feels so different.
It feels so different. So if you're starting this new relationship and you're like, this feels healthy, but I'm bored, go to therapy.
Check in with your systems.
Yes,
like,
check in with
are
your
you bored, or are you
systems.
just not in a state of fight or flight
Absolute
right now?
panic. Yeah.
For
Yes.
me, it was more of just consistently waiting for the catch, of waiting for you to be like, just kidding, I'm a terrible person, ha ha ha. Or also just being like, no, I'm done. I very much am on the abandonment issue side. And so for me, it's feeling safe and feeling good, but then also in the back of my mind being like, okay,
When's the
but
shoe
yeah,
gonna drop?
this isn't forever. They're gonna leave me. And getting past that and actually feeling safe, which led to me needing to actually have conflict. I had never actually had conflict in a relationship that we had worked through and resolved.
Yeah.
So that
Same.
was something that every time we would have a conflict, I would immediately panic and be like, "Oh, you're leaving me." And to get my my nervous system to chill out a little bit took time and conflict resolution. Like, I had to see it happen.
To be super fun. And we can get into this in a second, but Carrie is/was, I feel like we've done a lot of work, so I don't know if we fully
Probably. I still probably am there,
technically
especially in, like, high triggered moments.
Yes, and it always comes out, and same with me, but we have done a lot of work on it. Carrie is anxious attachment, and I am avoidant attachment, so we are a little match made in heaven.
Good times.
Or
Good
hell.
times.
I did have a thing, and now all I can think about is anxious and avoidant. Healthy conflict. No, it's about the safe relationship thing.
Waiting for the shoe to drop.
Bored. Oh, yes, waiting for the shoe to drop. For me, that was waiting to find out that you were love bombing me. Like, you had brought it up in the other episode about toxic relationships, where at one point I was like,
yeah,
are you real? Like, I think you're lying. I had quite literally just gotten out of that toxic relationship when Carrie and I started talking. So I was in hyper vigilant mode of don't fall for that crap
Yeah.
again. I think that was it for me. It was making sure that you weren't love bombing me. Do you want to talk about the attachment and the triggering thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you find yourself
Mismatched.
mismatching attachment styles,
You have to figure it out. It takes a minute.
we have to figure it out.
So for me, with anxious attachment, if we're in a state of conflict, I want to solve it right then. I don't want there to be any time because for me, conflict is separation. And so I feel anxious because I'm like, oh, we are disconnected. I'm at risk of being abandoned and I've got to fix it like right now. So for my attachment style, I want to go and talk about it right then. I want to hash it out. And I want to also be like in contact with you. I want to touch you, be like, tell me these things while I'm being super anxious. The like biggest trigger for me is again abandonment. So if I feel like I'm being pushed away or ignored, that is when I'm full panic mode of like, well, guess we're getting a divorce.
And then guess what I do, guys? Want to guess? When I get into high conflict situations, I want to just run away. I physical touch is like the absolute last thing I want to do. I do not want to touch you. I do not want to be in the same room as you.
Yep.
I do not want to resolve things right now. I want my space. And I will say by the time I met you, this had always been an issue that I knew I had. I knew it was something I had to work on. By the time I did get to you, um, I do feel like I had finally gotten to the point of being able to come back and actually like resolve things and talk about them. But there was still that trigger of I can't do it immediately.
Yeah.
And I do think a lot of that too comes from I don't have anger issues, but I think being ADHD and struggling with emotional regulation and then being in a high conflict situation and triggering, I know how explosive I can get. And not even in um yelling angry way, which does and can happen, but also I can get mean. And because I'm trying to be defensive, I can say mean things that I don't really mean. And so because I know that, I think that also contributes to me being like, can't talk right now because I'm gonna say a lot of stupid shit. And I think that also comes from having the avoidant attachment style because I'm not going to leave you, but my immediate thought of protection and safety is I'm done. I don't want to do this. I'm dipping out. Goodbye. Like that's my immediate thought. So when I am in that head space, which I know isn't how I actually feel, but I know that I'm there because that's
in your
my
triggered state.
Yeah, that in my triggered state, that's where I go. I know that if I start talking in that moment, it's going to come out.
Yeah.
Even though that's not how I actually feel at all. And so that was something that I had to recognize. That's the self-work previously.
Does that also connect your avoidant tendencies there? Does that connect to your idea of like being perceived as not perfect? When your avoidant self is like, oh, we're done, this is done, is that coming from that idea of like, oh, well, I'm no longer being perceived as perfect, so I need to just cut?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. I think that's something that we found out kind of recently, actually, is that in the environment that I grew up in, um, I was equally the golden child and also the invisible child because it was more because I was the invisible child and like had quote unquote no needs. I was then elevated to golden child status. I learned that if I am quiet and I am perfect and I cause no problems, then I am loved. So we kind of found out that when Carrie comes to me about literally anything, if it comes off in a way, which it often does, it's not her fault, it's just my trigger. I immediately go into that inner child of, oh my gosh, I'm no longer perfect. I am no longer being perfect. Therefore, Carrie doesn't love me. And then my avoidant comes out. It's like, okay, sever the connection. Protect yourself.
Like if
I'm in danger.
you're in danger.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in danger. I feel like you don't love me anymore because I'm not being perfect. And I'm like, I have to sever this before I get hurt.
Yeah.
And then, of course, for you,
That's the worst thing that could happen if I bring you a thing and I'm like, "Hey, I feel this way about this thing," and then that I feel like that causes disconnection. I'm like, "Oh, no!" Like, I don't know what to do because now my worst fear is, like, happening that you are going to abandon me or something,
Yep.
and that's just it was a fun thing to figure out. Also, having no models for healthy
Mhm.
conflict resolution. I was terrified of conflict, and legitimately in every single early fight we had, I thought, "This is it. This is gonna be the last time we speak." Like, that's, just where my brain goes, just having no examples of what healthy conflict looks like.
Well, I mean, and honestly, same with me. It's the avoidant aspect for me too is anytime I got in a conflict, it never got resolved. My thought is, why put myself through this? Why are we talking about this? Why are
Mm,
we arguing when nothing's going to come of it?
yeah,
And you're just going to get mad, and I'm just going to get mad.
right.
And why are we even doing this? Why can't we just go
Just
to it?
ignore it.
Literally,
Yeah.
literally, why can't we just ignore it? And then in 2 days, act like everything's fine? Because that was the model that I always had. So,
Yeah. I think I have to thank the world race a little bit for that because it was that model of feedback of like, don't let things fester. You have to talk about things or it's going to become a bigger problem. And I think that's where that model of how to resolve a conflict came from. Did we do it right all the time? No. But I think that is where I got that idea of like, if something bothered me, I should say the thing and then we can try to talk about it.
yeah.
But
And now here's the really fun thing about being in a safe relationship and having to figure out your shit on your own. You have to have conflict.
yeah,
You
yeah,
gotta.
yeah,
You gotta have the fights
yeah,
because that's what builds trust.
yep. That was,
And
yeah.
literally, like, our first few fights were bad. They were
Not
knockout,
our best moment.
not our best moments on
No
either
physical
side. No
violence.
physical violence
Yeah.
ever. But
Just not how we would like to handle ourselves.
exactly. Not how we handle ourselves today.
Yeah.
But with you realizing that talking about things got to a resolution
Mm.
and you showing me time and time again, hey, we actually are going to come and talk about this and come to a resolution and it is worth it
Mm.
and I don't hate you
Yeah.
and having a conversation about this isn't scary. I'm not going to yell at you. That built trust for me. I mean, I still obviously get triggered with conflict, but I can do it now. And I don't really feel like I really had to take space in the past times that we've had disagreements. I feel like we've been able to talk about things
Yeah.
pretty in the then and the now.
Need to go in the other room every now and then.
Every now and then.
Yeah.
Like, okay. But and that was something that I had to learn with telling her, hey, I'm not leaving. I'm not breaking up with you.
Yeah. I'm not abandoning
I'm not
you.
abandoning you. Whatever.
Yeah.
Just giving her that reassurance before we talk. And then also her giving me the space if I needed it to disengage and be like, hey, we're about to have a fight and I would like to put things on pause
Yeah.
and giving her a set amount of time.
Yeah.
Being like, I need an hour to go into the other room and decompress and get my thoughts together, and then we can talk. And her having that time limit
Mm.
was helpful.
And that was something we had to figure out. Like,
Yeah.
you needed space to gather your thoughts and
Mhm.
process things and self-regulate. And so for me, that was a very anxious thing of wondering when you're coming back. And so that was triggering for the abandonment too, of like thinking, okay, but when? When is enough time? When can I reach
Because
out?
I would just do it. I would just shut
Yeah.
down
Yeah.
and get
And
up
like
and like
go. And in past relationships, that could be days. That could be, if you're like my dad, I don't know if you're coming back at all. So, so for realizing like, oh, hey, if you can give me a time frame, that tells me it's not forever first. And then so I don't have to sit in my anxiety and wonder, when are you coming back? I have that amount of like, and even we also talked about how if you give me an hour and you still need more time, then it's okay. You can come and check back in and be like, hey, I still need this much more time. But it's not me sitting and waiting in my anxiety being like, are you coming back? Are you coming back?
yeah, that was really helpful and got us through the next few fights. And so now I feel like we don't really even necessarily
Use that.
super
Yeah.
do that anymore. But yeah, learning to work through each other's attachment styles
Mhm.
was huge. And the more that you have conflict, afflict, um, it
Strengthens.
it builds trust.
Yeah.
Eventually, as long as you're handling that conflict in a healthy way and actually coming to a resolution and figuring your shit out.
Yeah. And also me being like anxious, wanting to solve things in the moment. That whole don't let the sun go down in your anger thing, it's not always the best advice.
It's true.
Sometimes you should just sleep and then figure out things once you're rested, because sleep is also nice for regulating, and that can also be a good thing.
One of our friends is getting married, and they asked for people's advice, and we literally were like, "Do go to bed angry,"
Yep.
but then we had to explain
Yeah.
what we meant by that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if you rush into
Trying to resolve.
immediately trying to resolve a problem, it turns things into a much bigger problem than if you had just taken a step back. And that doesn't mean don't ever resolve your
Yeah.
problems. You have to have the resolution. You have to have the
Come back
talk.
to it.
But coming back when you both feel ready and regulated,
And rested.
and rested, however long that is, as long as it's not a week or something. And there's times when we've had arguments where we will resolve the argument, and then like 3 or 4 days later, you'll bring something up or I'll bring something up and be like, "Hey, I was like thinking about that argument, and I think maybe why you felt this way or this
Oh, yeah.
happened,
Yeah.
that this is
Connects to
why, like this
something.
could be like a trigger for you." And that happened a lot.
Yeah.
There's so many things that Carrie pointed out for me and that I pointed out for her.
We love patterns.
We love patterns. An example of that for me, because of the way I grew up, I'm 7 years older than my siblings, and they had a very different life than I did. So I have a very strong sense of unfairness towards me. If I perceive things as unfair, I get triggered. And that was something that I didn't realize. I didn't realize that was a root cause of some of my snapping or our arguments or disagreements. Even if you come to me sometimes with something that I perceive as quote unquote silly, I'm like, "Are you serious? I do all this stuff."
Yeah.
And it feels unfair that you're
the
like,
one thing that
like this one little
Yeah.
thing that is a thing for you, it triggers that. So
Yeah.
like the unfairness might not make sense.
Yeah.
But like
it still translates as unfairness.
it's translating as unfair in my brain. She recognized that. And I think that has definitely helped me a lot with that.
Yeah.
Okay, real talk. If you're still here, you clearly love us. So go ahead and make it official. Hit that subscribe button and give us those coveted 5 stars. It's free, it's easy, and honestly, it feeds our validation issues. Now, let's get back to the good stuff. I Pavloved you.
Yeah, let's talk about how you Pavloved me. So, in a couple of my last relationships and also childhood, I consistently felt like I was being the cause of like disconnect and not being worthy of love. That feels a little strong, but it's probably where I was at. And so frequently, even like really stupid decisions of where do you want to go eat would be a reason to put me down. Like, no, of course you don't want to go there. Why would you even suggest that? So just having that mindset of, oh, everything I think is stupid really wore down my sense of self and my ability to feel confident in decision making, to the point where when we were first getting into a relationship, the simplest decisions could cause me to literally just spiral and total shutdown, like not being able to speak, not being able to communicate, which is super fun and healthy.
It drove me nuts. Like something as simple as, what do you want to watch? And just total
Panic.
shutdown. Like
Just panic.
And I wasn't mean about it, but after months of having to make every single decision, it was starting to get to me a little bit. So I brought it up to my therapist and I was like, what the heck do I do? And she was like, Pavlover. She didn't like say that, but she was like, anytime she makes any decision on her own, I don't care what it is. It could be, I'm wearing mismatched socks today. You are going to be like, that is the best decision that you have ever had. I love your mismatched socks. I love that you're wearing mismatched socks. And eventually,
look at you go.
Look at you go. And then start asking those questions. And then anytime she makes any decision when you ask a question. I do not care if that was not the decision you wanted. You set yourself up for this. That's what you're doing. And
Yeah.
it's the greatest idea that anyone has ever had ever. And so I started doing that, man. Anything Carrie did or made a decision, whether I asked or she did it on her own, I was like, that's the best. That is exactly what I wanted to do. Like, heck yeah, we're doing
Picking the
that
music in
thing.
the car, like
From picking music in
TV
the
show.
car. She could put something on, I'd be like, oh yeah, man, I really like this band. This is exactly what I want.
But it worked.
It worked.
I had to rewire.
It worked.
I had to rewire my brain. And going from that atmosphere of just walking on eggshells and feeling like every single thing that I did was going to cause unrest to getting to that point. I needed the overkill of praise to like rewire and get where I needed to be there.
Yep. Even like, I'm like, what do you want to watch? And you're like, this thing. And inwardly, I'm like, oh, no, I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to watch.
Binge it. All of it.
Let's binge it. Let's never stop watching it. I'm so excited to watch the show with you. Here's a poster. I bought it for you.
Good times. Good
But
times.
yeah, it worked. I mean, and sometimes you still,
Yeah.
that stuff never
Still happens.
goes away.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is what it is. It's a constant work in progress, but you have definitely gotten so much better with making sense.
I can tell now when we're kind of in a triggered state, and it's definitely more likely for me to slip back into that mindset if we're already in a situation of high stress, or if I'm really stressed with work, or I'm about to start my period and I'm emotional. Like anything can put me back in that headspace. But
and sometimes you'll usually like say that.
Yeah, that's a good point too, though, of recognizing when we're in that headspace and calling that out too. Being like,
which I feel like we do.
Yeah. For me, like I am sensitive. So if there's a day when I know if you're like, oh, that shirt's a funny color of blue, that'll make me like burst into tears, I will be like, don't be mean to me today. I feel very sad or whatever.
Yeah, because we joke around with each other a lot.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when she's in like a sensitive mood and I say something that any other day she would have been laughing at, it would have been fine. It could be a trigger for her for whatever reason, but you've gotten way better at literally saying, I'm sad. Do not be mean to me.
I'm in an emotional state.
That doesn't happen often. It usually is when you're like PMSing or something.
Just cried 3 times in the Brandy Carlisle album, listening to it while I was taking a shower. So please don't say anything that might be mean.
Say, got it. I'm gonna give you
Have
400 kisses.
Here's a snack. Oh man. And I think that comes down to learning more about each other and also learning more about yourself, because we don't rely on each other to regulate. We're aware of our own feelings, but also when we're in that weaker state, if we can say that and bring that thing, then there is help there. If I can bring that to you, then you can help me regulate, because I'm already like, hey, I am in a weird headspace. So I think getting to the point where you can recognize your own things that get you, and once you can share those, ideally with a partner that you trust, because again, like I don't even know if I would have felt comfortable enough to even say that in a past relationship. I feel like, whatever I'm feeling today. So because then one, it would have probably just put a target on me for them to be mean to me.
Your ex would have been like, bet I'm gonna be a bitch.
I've been like, well, no wonder, because no wonder you're sensitive. You're always sensitive, you needy little bitch.
She's doing a great job. The cat is walking all over our laps and also unplugging our headphones. Wow, you vile betrayer. She picked Carrie's lap over me. Rude.
I've been chosen.
What were you talking about? Safe relationship.
Knowing yourself more to know your...
Oh, you were talking about regulating. You're talking about regulating.
Oh, yeah, like self-regulating and not...
Yeah, and I am happy you brought that up because you can't rely on another person to regulate you.
Yeah.
Period. You can't rely on another person to make you happy. You cannot rely on another person to make you complete.
And you can't regulate your partner.
Yes.
I can't look at you and be like, oh, I'm responsible for keeping you happy. Like that.
Nope. And that's a hard thing to let go of too, I think, especially for you. Like if I'm in a bad mood or grumpy and it has literally nothing to do with you, you often
not
like
internalize
that and are like, oh,
what did I do? Why do you hate me?
And like same, honestly, same. That whole like trope of like I need to find the person to complete me
Yeah.
infuriates me.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that you need to be some perfect and complete amazing person before you can get into a healthy relationship because God knows we weren't, but you also can't expect your partner to to
Save you or
to
fix
save
you.
you
Yeah.
or to regulate you or to be your source of happiness. It's something you can work on in a healthy relationship,
Mhm.
but you have to realize that you cannot put that on one person.
Yeah.
And it's important to have friends because you also can't
Can't be
be
everything.
everything. Like
Yeah.
there are things that I like that you aren't huge on, and there are things that you like that I'm not huge on. And I'm like, go
Well,
play with your friends.
and even just to have someone to vent to, like, if
Yeah.
we do have a
Mhm.
disagreement or something, to have someone to go to and be like, "Lisa's being annoying." Just kidding. Uh,
Carrie's being so needy.
see, if I were in a sensitive day, I would have cried.
She said I could be mean to her today. I got the green light.
What do you think about the whole, like, you gotta love yourself before you're in a relationship kinda thing?
Bullshit.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that because I feel like that connects. Like,
It does.
yeah.
And I think you do and you don't. It's
Yeah.
like so many things in life. When we started talking, I did not love myself.
Yeah.
I was very much not in a space of loving myself. That was right after that crazy toxic relationship, and my self-worth was in the shitter and all of that stuff.
And you didn't even really believe you were a good partner at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't because, like we talked about
Yeah.
in that episode, it's hard to be a good partner when you are in survival mode because you're in a toxic relationship. So, yes and no. I think you need to be trying to love yourself. I don't think you need to figure out loving yourself to
Yeah.
be in a healthy relationship, but I think you need to be trying to and be open to loving yourself.
Yeah. Like, don't expect someone to pull you out of the
Yes.
whole.
Yes, 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 yes. You can be in the hole
Yeah.
and you can meet somebody that's amazing,
Yeah.
but don't expect them to pull you out of the
Yeah.
hole. You still have to do the individual work and get yourself out of the
Yeah.
hole.
Yeah.
I just fully believe that you can do that in a relationship with somebody.
Yeah.
It's
Put the work
healthy
in.
and you are not depending on that person to pull you out of the hole.
To do all the work. Yeah.
Um,
Just random tangent, but it kind of connected to my brain
that
and
connects.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
And then
Yeah.
back to the regulation just a bit. It's been a really hard thing for me to learn to be okay with you not being in a good mood because I do internalize that. And like that was
Sometimes I'm grumpy. Sometimes it really doesn't have
that's
anything
okay.
to do with you. I'm just like being grumpy. I'm a grumpy old man.
That's fine. But like that was my role growing up is to make sure
Mhm.
everyone is constantly fine to avoid conflict.
Yeah.
And so I was constantly assessing everyone's mood and to let go of that and have the mindset of, no, you are responsible for your
Yeah.
emotions. I am
Mhm.
responsible for my emotions. It's taken a lot of practice and time and effort there too to undo all that fun wiring.
Yeah. No, it's very true.
Did you feel that in the more beginnings of our relationship that I was trying to like.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely did that.
Yeah.
Where like especially like if I was in a bad mood and like you would dig. And that's what you kind of said. We had to get to the point where it was like, okay, yeah, if one of us is in an off mood, obviously we check in.
Yeah.
Maybe even twice.
Yeah.
But then if the person is very much like, yeah, I'm okay,
Yeah.
then you just have to
Just
take them at their word and drop it.
Yeah.
And then at that point, that's on you.
Yeah.
Like I've asked you 2 times, and if you do have a problem with me and you don't want to talk about it, that's now your problem,
Yeah, you gotta
not
bring
mine.
it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you don't want to bring it up, I'm not gonna waterboard
Yeah.
it out of you.
Yeah.
So yeah. And we both had to learn that because I do it too. If you get into a weird mood, it's more me just getting pissy that you're in a weird mood.
Yeah.
As opposed to asking you what's wrong. I was like, well, fuck you, Grum. No, I'm just kidding.
And then I read that as abandonment, and then we go through the
And then
whole
we-
cycle.
Cycle.
Really, though, we joke all the time that, like, that's the worst compatibility for attachment styles and conflict resolution styles, but it also provides the most potential for growth because you have to work so hard outside of your preferred zone to get to that resolution and to get to the fun compromise and figure out more
Yeah.
about the other person. While that part was difficult to figure out and difficult to initially learn how to have conflict and learn how we communicate. I think that also provided so much
Yeah.
self growth.
in a weird way, our triggers make each other stronger
Yeah.
because our attachment, like mine is
Mhm.
abandonment, or I can't talk, blah, 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 blah.
You are me and I am you. We are one.
Because mine is avoidant,
Yeah.
you being anxious has forced me
To deal with your
to deal with my shit,
yeah.
to actually talk
And
to
same.
you and give you reassurance.
Yeah.
And then for you, because I am avoidant and you're anxious,
I
you
have to
had to
deal with the
learn
anxiety.
to deal with your anxiety and
Yeah.
be like, "Hey, it's okay. They just need space right now,
Yeah.
and then they're gonna come back,"
Yeah.
which we built with trust.
Yep.
People always talk about how avoidant, anxious attachment relationships can't work or whatever. It's really difficult, but I don't think
Yeah, once you figure
that's
it out,
once you figure it out, that's very
once you
not
get
true.
some safety things in
Yeah.
place, like the timing and
Mhm.
understanding where you're coming from, and even the way you frame things too, like
Mhm. Framing is a big one.
when we are at our best, it's so much easier if we're able to speak about things like, "Oh, I still love you. I'm not
And it's
leaving
hard when
you."
you're in a triggered state.
Yep,
Like, it is really difficult, and there's
yep,
times when more times than not, we
yep,
still do not set things up perfectly,
yep,
but we'll often go back
yeah,
and be like, "Hey, this is how I should have done this, or I
yep,
should have approached this." But it is hard to do in the moment. It
yeah.
is. It is really difficult.
But getting those frameworks into place can definitely resolve a lot of things before it escalates, and also just help you deal with your own fun childhood stuff because
Woo!
it bubbles up
Eh
when your body's like, "Oh, safe relationship. It's time to deal with all of these things."
well, even when I talked about the college relationship, like,
Mm,
being in a safe relationship just lets you unpack things,
yeah,
especially when you have built a relationship with somebody where you know you can talk to them
yeah,
about trauma, just in general, whether it's related to them, the relationship or not, and that they'll help you. You can just eventually come to them for all the things. And yeah, that was a big traumatic thing that I had to unpack that I am still unpacking. But yeah,
yeah.
safe relationships, fun, triggering, 10 out of 10 recommend.
And that's the thing too, once you get to that point where you do trust your partner and you can bring up these things, if I'm in a space where I'm not internalizing what you're saying, then I can see like, "Oh, hey, maybe this pattern connects to something else," and, like, I
Yeah.
can help you more see what's going on.
Yep.
Whereas if you're upset and I'm internalizing everything, we're just gonna keep butting heads
Yeah.
instead of helping each other and figuring it out. So if you can get to that point,
Yeah.
then that's when I think you can really start doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah. Well, then because you know me so well and you do know my patterns and my triggers when I
Yeah.
come to you about other random stuff like, hey, this family thing or hey,
Yeah.
this ex relationship thing, you're able to see things that I can't
Yeah.
because I'm in it.
Yep.
But you're like, oh, you're probably feeling this way or doing this because XYZ, like we found out. And it's really helpful.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're such a good therapist.
Yeah.
Also, you're don't go to therapy.
Yeah. Wait, your phrasing there was like, "Don't go to therapy," but
Sorry,
yeah.
I meant
Fix it.
don't rely on your partner to be your
Yes.
therapist. Go to therapy
Yes.
if you can.
Yes.
If that is not a financially viable option for you, you still got to be reading the books, listening to the podcast, doing the work. It's just when you get to that point, having that in a partner, it
Mhm.
can be helpful. And if Carrie was like, I don't feel like I can talk about this or I'm not in the headspace, which she hasn't done, but she can. And I'd be like, okay, fair. It's not your responsibility, but it is helpful and I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
We put in the work, and
Mhm.
now we do the safe.
And it really is it's all about trust,
Yeah.
ultimately. I mean, there's no like looking at each other's phones or going through each other's shit or like I literally know where your personal journal is and I would never open it
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
And like just being able to I can go hang out with my friends. You can go hang out with your friends. I mean, I freaking flew out and hung out with my guy friends from college and we had a Vegas trip,
Yeah.
and you fly out for Pokemon tournaments or whatever the heck you want to do. Like
Having
you just
all the secrets of the Pokemon tournaments.
getting all the all the women at the
All
Pokemon.
4.
All four. Good job, babe. All four?
All 4.
Wow.
This is our personality.
Yeah,
This is what it is.
it is.
Nonstop jokes and bits and
Yeah.
chaos. It works. Works for us so far.
Carrie always says, and I like it, you say that our relationship, we're held but free.
I think I got that from Glennon Doyle.
Ah, of course you did, Glennon.
But yeah, it's secure and it's safe, but it's not claustrophobic. And
Nope.
you're free to go and do, and I'll support all of the things.
Yeah.
And if I feel insecure about something, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
And we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Free and held. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? I feel like we kind of covered everything, at least that I can think of for this episode. I'm sure we'll talk about our relationship more on these little hangout times.
That's been our healing journey.
Yeah.
Just know if you're a chaotic little bean, there's hope.
There's hope.
If you're terrified of conflict, you too can become.
You too can get married to an avoidant. Right? It can happen for you. And ultimately, like, just be kind to each other.
Yeah.
Like, that's really what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Like, just be nice.
Be nice. Unless you're jokingly being mean, we do that a lot.
Yeah.
But that translates as nice to our brains, so we're still being nice.
We're nice when it counts.
Yeah.
Like picking out pickles.
I will never not think about that. Oh.
Yeah. All right. High five time. We did
I
it.
have a cat on my high five hand.
Thus concludes our little 3-episode relationship miniseries. But we will keep doing the hangout hours.
Tell us below. Comment about how you have figured out your conflict styles or attachment styles. Tell us all of your fun stories.
All of your secrets and insecurities.
Your social security numbers, your mother's maiden name. So please don't. We won't see those, but the scammers will. So don't tell us those things.
And if you have anything you want us to talk about next, we might talk about it. Maybe.
Yeah. No promises. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Holy Homo Healing Hour. If this show speaks to you, please subscribe and share it with someone who might need to hear it too. Until next time, be kind to yourself. And remember, honey, we all deserve to be loved.